So today we're going to talk about a really interesting company, one that's standing at a huge crossroads. SoundHound AI. Are they about to become the next big thing in AI? Or is this whole thing just a financial house of cards waiting to tumble? Let's dive in and see what the numbers are actually telling us.
And look, SoundHound's vision is absolutely massive. I mean, they're not just trying to build another voice assistant for your phone. Their goal is to completely change how we talk to, well, everything. They want to make conversational AI the way we interact with all our devices.
But, and this is the big but, that brings us to the core mystery here. If this company really is the future, why are the people who know it best, the insiders, the executives, selling off their shares? That's a huge contradiction, and it's right at the center of this whole story.
Okay, so to really get what's going on, you need a little background. SoundHound AI isn't some new startup. They've been around since 2005. You might even remember them from their music recognition app. But since then, they've grown into this huge voice AI platform, and they went public back in 2022. So yeah, they've been in the game for a while.
All right, first up, let's look at the bull case, the really compelling argument for why SoundHound could be on its way to becoming an absolute titan in the world of AI.
This right here is their secret sauce. They're not just doing simple speech to text, like when you dictate a message on your phone. Their special tech, stuff like speech to meaning, is designed to figure out what you actually mean, not just the words you said. It's the difference between a machine just following a rigid command and one that really understands your request. That's a game changer for talking to your car, a drive-through kiosk, or anything really.
And this isn't just some cool idea they have. They've got a massive 6-year revenue backlog of $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B. It means they have a huge pipeline of business already lined up, which is a massive vote of confidence from their clients.
Plus, they're not just doing this in English. The platform supports over 25 languages. For a company that wants to be in cars and restaurants all over the world, that global reach is absolutely critical.
And they're not just building this technology from scratch, they're buying it too. You can see here they've been on a shopping spree, picking up companies that specialize in key areas like restaurants and customer service. The strategy seems pretty clear. Buy up the competition and integrate their AI to completely dominate those markets.
So, with all that going on, Wall Street is pretty excited. You've got analysts looking at this and seeing a ton of potential. The average price target suggests a 46% upside from where the stock is now. And some of the Super Bowls, they think it could go as high as $26 a share. That's the dream scenario.
Okay, so that's the shiny, optimistic story. But now we have to flip the coin over, because the bear case reveals a pretty chilling gap between that grand vision and the company's financial reality.
And here it is. This is the whole problem laid out right next to each other. Is revenue growing? Oh yeah, big time, up 68% in the last quarter. That looks great. But at the exact same time, their net loss ballooned over $109 million. So the faster they grow, the more money they lose. That's a tough spot to be in.
Let's talk about cash, because this is where it gets serious. In just the last year, the company burned through $111 million just to keep its operations running. That is a huge amount of money to be burning through, and it definitely raises questions about how long they can keep that up.
Which brings us right back to that mystery we started with. In the last 3 months, company insiders have sold off more than 430,000 shares. And you know how many they bought? 0. Not a single share. When the people on the inside are selling and not buying, that sends a very powerful and frankly worrying signal to the market.
And look, this isn't just some vague number. These are real people making real sales. We're talking about the company's own chief technology officer, Timothy Stonehawker. He recently cashed out shares on 2 separate occasions, pocketing over $700,000. When the guy in charge of the tech is selling, you can bet people are going to notice.
So what are we supposed to make of all this?
You've got these two stories that are just completely at odds with each other. And that leads us to this great divide on Wall Street, where the professional analysts and the market itself are in a total standoff.
In one corner, you've got the big-name analyst firms. You see H.C. Wainwright, Cantor Fitzgerald, they are all in. They're looking at the long-term vision, that giant backlog, and the cool tech, and they're slapping buy ratings on the stock with some very, very optimistic price targets.
But then, in the other corner, you have the cold, hard data from the market itself. These are the technical indicators, the RSI, the MACD, the moving average. And what are they saying? Sell. Bearish. Bearish. It's like the stock's own heartbeat is telling a completely different, much darker story.
And this is what you're left with. It's an incredible contrast. The experts who study the company are telling you, strong buy.
But the charts, the raw data reflecting what traders are actually doing, are screaming strong sell. It's a classic fight, the beautiful story versus the ugly statistics.
So all of this brings us to two very different potential futures for SoundHound AI. The company is literally standing at a fork in the road, and the path it chooses next is going to decide everything.
Here are those two paths. Path number one is the dream scenario, the visionary path. They figure out how to turn that $1.2 billion backlog into actual cash, they get their spending under control, and boom, they hit profitability by 2026, just like the CEO hopes. But then there's path number two, the financial spiral. The cash burn just keeps going. The insider selling continues, and the whole thing heads for a serious decline. So what's it going to take for them to pull off that dream scenario? Well, they've got a mountain to climb. They have to turn that incredible innovation into real profit. They have to make all those acquisitions actually work together. They have to get that cash burn under control. And they have to do all of it while fighting off absolute giants like Amazon and Google, who are playing in the same sandbox. No pressure, right? So in the end, we're left with this puzzle. On one hand, you have this revolutionary technology and a mind-boggling order book. On the other hand, you have some really grim financials and insiders who seem to be heading for the exits. The battle for the future of voice AI is happening right now, inside this one company. The only question is, which story is going to be the one that comes true?